Greetings, one and all. Looks like we had another decent transition for this stream, which means that some of the elements have maintained their stable condition. Now, there's only one other thing we're going to have to test here. Because I tested it on my own, and it worked, but I want to see if it works on stream. That is to get the audio to work. For this.
You serious?
Yes, it works. Okay, I figured out what my problem was with that. Well, greetings to you one and all. We're going to be refining this animation a little bit more. There's a couple of areas that need a little bit tweaking. So I don't expect this is going to be a super long stream. I don't plan these things out a whole lot. But yeah, I'm going to be working on this because I almost got the t-shirt thing done. And I can't use the drill until tomorrow, really, because it's a little late in the walls. While fairly soundproof, it would not be considerate to those around. So we're going to be focusing on this instead. We're going to do what I was too nervous to really do last night. We're going to make a texture of the trees for stuff that is in the distant background. Alright, let's give that a shot. Greetings, Kobizmi. How are you doing? And did you have good rest last night? I sure did. Fantastic. Tonight, we are going to be continuing to refine the scene a bit more, and I need to go back and do a couple of corrections. We'll just call this extra for now. We need to add some trees in the background, and I have way too many objects in the scene. It is killing my computer already. So I need to optimize it a little bit more. Now, I went high resolution. I should not have done so. I should have been optimizing. I should have been baking textures. I'm terrible at baking. Whether it is with a stove or with a computer. I'm terrible with baking, and while I have figured out how to do it in the past, it's always a serious headache for me, and doesn't seem to actually help my production as much as I would like it to. So we're going to be doing something a little different for this. So we're going to bring in tree 1. Now with this, we're going to add in to the scene collection here a camera. Okay. Good. Computer didn't crash on me. It has done this in the past for this one. Okay, so I want it to be 20 by 1080. Reverse that. Oh, wait a minute. These are linked, aren't they? Yeah. That's not gonna work. You know, they're just supposed to be dark. They're not supposed to actually have the lighting on them. So, let's see what this is going to look like. Oh, wait a minute. Lighting is already here by default. I forgot that. So what if we were to just render this? Turn on transparency for the film. Transparent. Let's try that again. A little too orange. Okay, so let's add in a plane. 100. Let us angle the camera up because this is going to be on the ground for the most part. Looking up for most of the scenes. By the way, there is in this scene, there are a lot of elements that are related to the High North. Now, it may not seem like it to begin with. It may be a little peculiar to have them, but it is something where it's inspired on my personal kind of observations of the greater Alaskan wilderness. This is designed to be inspired by the Alaskan wilderness, although I will say that it takes some creative liberties, of course, because it's Lego. But I am kind of, for the most part, I'm happy with how this has been turning out. But there's still some things I'm like, I wish I could go back and change it up now that it's kind of, we've been doing it for so many weeks. But I got to get this thing finished, so I'm going to just ignore those parts, and hopefully the next wave of animations will be able to fix some of those problems, because we are going to stick with this setting for another 2 animations, and then we'll be going back to the Dark Street, which is basically the neighborhood that is in nighttime. And that one is going to be used for the short Spooked. The one that was going to be done this year, but due to life events and incapable skills, I was unable to get that finished. So we'll be doing that next year. Now, this technique has been done in particular on older films. It's a very effective tactic still, and I'm of the opinion that it still needs to be used in most occasions. I just need to have a couple of cards, and these cards will be good enough to... Wait a minute, what's wrong with the top here? It's just color. Wait a minute. Color? Uh-oh. It's not supposed to be that color. Link material. There we go. I was wondering why that was so off. Hopefully the other ones... Oh, no, the other ones are that too. Dang it. Up. Wrong button. Link material. Okay. But anyway, the card technique I first heard about for some of the Blue Sky films that came out early on in the 2000s. And I remember seeing it for the first time and thinking, that's genius. You take something that looks very complex and you make it very simple for hair and for plants. You didn't need as much in the scene. Now, unfortunately, card technology is not as robust, I would say, as it used to be. I think that we've gone so far into upping the resolution that cards are kind of hard to do naturally. And I have figured out how to do it in some occasions, but I wish I understood them better so I could go back and use them for things like fur, because I still think it's a good, effective technique. I cannot figure out the fur part. I can never get the cards to line up properly. Okay. Do this at a 150 resolution. Sample. And save the scene, and now render. Well, I was finally successful to get the the stream radio fixed. I've been threatening to do so for a while, and so right now it does work, and I think I figured out what was so problematic. I had updated it earlier in the fall, and I totally forgot there was one line of code that was defaulting to one ID number, and that ID number would get stuck. And so I needed to have a way to help prevent it from getting stuck in that cycle. And once I figured that out, then suddenly it started working immediately. It took very little effort. It's more labor intensive trying to hunt down what was causing all the problems. All right, let's make a new one. Cards. Tree card. Lego tree card 1.0. Alright, so now swap out that tree for the second tree. Okay, it's already lined up. Perfect. Let's move the timeline a little bit. So, at the end of January, we're going to be trying to do something that we've never done before, except for last Friday. We're going to be having a 3D art challenge day. Now, this is like a pseudo competition. It's going to be a very small group that gets a chance to do a project together and also to challenge one another and see whose techniques are the best. Now, it is supposed to be an encouraging sort of event where we get a chance to learn from one another. And I gotta say, I have really liking the concept. Now, I've yet to hear back from the other folks about what their ideas are, and I very much think that once we do the first one, all sorts of ideas are going to start to spark among the people involved, and I would love to see it become a regular part of these streams. Maybe not more than once a month, but I think once a month is really good for that. You can have some different sorts of activities as well, but there is so much potential, and I was in charge. Well, I was one of the men in charge with a competition a couple of years ago. Now that competition went actually very well. Now, it unfortunately didn't pan out well because it turns out that there were a lot of very problematic people in that group. And so after the first event, I don't know if it was greed or whatnot, but it caused them to want to kind of destroy it. And as I understand, they've not done one since. And of course, I was not a part of it because they took it and they ran with it. And so I'm not one to want to cause big hullabaloo about stuff like that. So I just like, okay, fine. You want to go off on your own? I at least walked away with some understanding of what it is like to try and do something like that. I was happy enough. I was not going to be all offended by the fact that they took it and ran with it. Instead, I was more just sorry that they didn't see that it was not a good way to go about resolving differences. I think it was their loss in that sense because they didn't have the wherewithal to be able to pull that thing off. And so I've had people ask me, when is the next competition going to happen? And I couldn't say. I couldn't tell them that everything had fallen apart. And for 2 years, I still get people that ask about that. Like, when's the next competition? It ain't happening, folks. The people that were involved with that, they ran with it. They're gone. still have to tell that on the occasion because we had, I think it was a total of 40 people in total. So the fact that there's the chance for a 3D version of this has me really kind of excited. Really look forward to seeing how that turns out. I'm having trouble with the upcoming streams channel in Discord. It's not showing me any previous messages. Really? Thanks for the heads up on that, Riker. By the way, hope you're doing well. Let me check what the permissions are. Because, you know, I'm very bad at this stuff. I keep messing this up over and over and over again. Aha! Aha! Okay, I have corrected that one. Let me check if the announcement area had the same problem. Everyone can view. Oh, I messed that up. Okay, well, that was embarrassing. Read history. Okay, that is saved. Oh, I messed up another area. Oh, my goodness. Edit permissions. View channel. Add reactions. Read message history. Okay, that one's good. What about announcements? Is announcements corrected? View. Okay, that's good. Add reactions. That's good. Read history. Oh, okay. So I did it on the announcements, not on the upcoming streams. I would love to... Well, honestly, what I should do... I don't know how to do this, but I need like another account. One where I can have like... JeffBot or something like that to be able to preview what things look like. I don't know how to have a dual Discord setup though, so... Not sure yet. There might be some ideas down the road. How's the day been for you, Riker? Have you been productive? Let me see. Blender, geometry nodes, point to camera. Distant forest. Hey-oh, says Gutless. What ghost helps you win a football game? The team spirit. Good one. How you doing, Scutless? Productive-ish. I was able to finish the last Christmas pajamas I had to make. Only a few days late. Still need to make myself some. Dandy. Yeah, I remember you showed the, you had the picture of them a while back, and so that, gotta say, those things always come in handy. I actually, I actually have to say the pajamas I was given by a family member a couple years ago still come in handy. They were very high quality. And so they continue to persist. Forest Collection. Now I gotta grab that plane. Here we go. Distant Forest Mesh. Now this, we gotta change out the collection in here with Distant Forest Collection. I'm artistic. Greetings, Cassidy. Hope you are doing well. We are... Oh, whoa. Now that's interesting. Why is it doing that? Oh, scale. Nope, not scale. Rotation. Okay, so it wants to offset it. Oh, that's why. That's why. Clear out the trees. There we... Yeah, their transformations. Perfect. My family always does Christmas pajamas. Since I'm sewing more, I decided to make them this year, and I included Lauren and her family. So everybody got some comfy PJs. Sensational. Think of a failed donut tutorial. Oh, that's good. That's good. I tell you what, sometimes you can follow a tutorial and it just like all falls apart on you. It is... This happened to me so many times. As someone actually diagnosed with autism, I had an inward groan before that correction. An inward groan before that correction. I am unfamiliar with this. You'll have to enlighten me, for I am dense. What's your vertex density at? For the whole scene? The concept of an inward groan. Yes, I don't think I've heard that term before. Vertex density, well, for this right here, this is just a bunch of cards. Pre-rendered so that it can, reduce the stress on the PC. The actual scene, though, if I was to look at it without simplifying it... Okay, let's bring it all back up. Up. No, we don't want that. We want to bring it all back up. Right now, we are at... just for the background... Well, that's not really true, actually. It's all proxies right now. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's in the millions, though. Because each of these trees, if I go back here, trees, and if I was to, say, take one of these branches, which they're all independent branches here. That way they can move in the wind, so to speak. Wind, they're all animated. Let me grab the bigger one, so that way it can be more readily seen. If I bring this in, and if I hide it, we go from... Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. It's big. I believe if I was to do the rough calculations based upon that, we have the calculator. And we have, right now, 557064. And we're going to multiply that by about that, plus what I remember for the rigs. We're going to add in another 50 roughly, plus I think we're close to 3 million vertices out in the scene, somewhere between 2 and 3. Think of it like sighing without actually sighing. You're annoyed, but not visibly or audibly showing it. I can't actually imagine what, I get the basics of it, but I am not very familiar with that sort of stuff. So you'll have to demonstrate for us one day. And that way I will understand. All right, where is distant trees again? Here we go. Distant forest mesh. And grab these ones too. You know, earlier today, I was getting ready to go out to the car. And I stepped out of the house and immediately was hit with a icy blast because the temperature up here has plunged. It is now at 5 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So it is nice and bitterly cold. Now there is a problem that happens. Your tires start to deflate a bit because, you know, the temperature is so low. And I was trying to figure out why my car keeps beeping constantly, and I have yet to actually figure that out. But it seems like the sensor is a bit damaged by all the frost, and so even though the tires should be at the right pressure, it doesn't seem to be working. The sensor just keeps going off. But then today, for whatever reason, despite being the coldest that it's been so far this year, the sensor stopped giving the warning. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I'm a little hopeful, though, that hopefully that is not going to be an issue. Guess we'll find out. All right, we have our distant forest. I'm going to add some scale variation to that. That ain't working. Oh, that's why. And now let us decrease the amount here. There we go. Now let's bring that back. Everything's lagging. Oh, that's why. That's why. Massive lag. Massive lag. Please don't crash. Don't crash, please. Phew. That was close. 0.05. Multiply the scale by 10. Make the minimum 1. 10. And let's make the upper side of that 50. There we go. Meanwhile, it is 50 degrees Fahrenheit here in Louisiana, but the temperature is supposed to gradually drop across the next 3 days. $70. Man, that is a lot. $50. Sorry, $50. That is a lot. Basically, 50 to me is like my version of 70. My version of 70 is basically, to me, well, my 70 degrees feels to me like it's 90. Like I go outside in complete shorts and I'm like sweating. When it's 50, it's like perfect weather. 40 is more ideal. Times 10. Well, we are about ready to enter into the next of the into the next year, and I've been hearing a whole lot of people that haven't really been saying they're looking forward to or not looking forward to the next year. Now, why is that interesting? Because for the last couple of years, I have heard people keep complaining. Oh, next year is going to be better. Oh, this year was just the worst, absolute worst. Oh, I can't wait for the new year. And then the new year comes around and it's a pandemic, or it's chaos, or it's war, or it's any number of things. And I've noticed people have stopped saying, oh, I can't wait for the new year. Now people are like holding their breath in anticipation. They're like, is it going to be a good year? Is it going to be a bad year? We have no idea. It's very different than about 5 years ago. I remember hearing people all over the internet saying, oh yeah, this is just the worst year ever. Oh, I can't wait for it to be over. And now I don't hear that anywhere. I mean, maybe it is. It's just not in my circles. Oh, this is looking decent. But now that raises the question, should you be looking forward to the next year and hating on the last? Now, I am somebody who thinks that each year has its pros and cons. There's going to be, well, there's never going to be paradise this side of life. And so to try and wish for perfection just seems kind of impossible. It seems like we just set ourselves up for failure. So I'd be more inclined to say, let's accept the years that we're given. Let's approach it with maybe not a smile if it's too much, but let's just not assume that we can basically wish away the frustrations of a past year. Nor can you expect yourself to change. Like, let's say, for example, somebody decides that they're going to lose 30 pounds. And they're going to start off, they're going to hit the gym immediately, kind of like a lot of people in this country. They hit the gym, and then they stop. And like, oh, well, I'm still trying to hit my goal. It all becomes silly. I think a lot of people, especially with the age of the internet, we've started to notice how kind of silly that sort of concept is. If you're going to do something, don't wait for the next year to try and come around to do it. It's so ridiculous. But I also think it applies to the way that we approach the year just from an emotional standpoint. Are we going to be treating the new year like somehow it's going to result in a paradise? Nah, we're always going to be disappointed with that. The world may not get worse, but it's not necessarily going to always get better. It's more just static. It goes up and it goes down. It goes all over the place. Some areas get better, some areas get worse. Generally, things kind of tend towards the worse, but that's where we need to be able to come back and say, you know what, time for a reset in our way of thinking. That's why we can only change ourselves. And so if we're expecting the new year to be paradise, well, maybe we should be spending more time thinking about how can I improve and become better and more honorable so that I can at least do my part to try and make the next year all the better. My 2025 New Year's resolution, 2024's resolution, which I was supposed to do in 2023 and 2022 and first planned in 2021. Oh no. Hey, you know what? Skutless is being proactive. He at least has a vision. All right, here is the node system I have to try and imitate here. Facing the position. Okay, we need rotation. We're looking for Wait a minute. That's not it. Is it? No, that works. Or it should work. Find the vector orthographic of the... Oh, no, wait. This is not for a collection. This is for individual faces of a plane. Of a mesh. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Well, maybe it could work, but I don't have the ability to try quite figure that out. Oh, I can add constraints to the objects, huh? Okay, let's try that. let's see, point, no, it's, this is, here we go, constraints. Track to, wait a second. No, this isn't it. Blender geometry point. Oh, wait. Blender constraints point to active camera. Uh-huh. Looks like I'm gonna have to move this to each individual scene. That's fine. I can basically link it. Disable that, and we want subdivided surface. Now bring that back. Hey, much better. Always good to be proactive and have a plan. Yeah, Skutless has a plan, all right. It's more than some other people out there. And who knows, if Skutless gets all the resolutions figured out, I'll bet he'll go out and write a book. Skutless Guide to How to Fulfill All Your New Year's Resolutions. And you know what? I kind of think it would be a bestseller. Man, there's some weird books out there. And so many of them are like self-help sort of stuff that I'm like, who is buying this stuff? And it all says bestseller. Okay, so this does work. Okay. So we're going to add in an empty for the time being. A cone. This cone will be our tree target for the time being. And we're going to have a locked track. Oh wait, I forgot to change this. Come on over here. Empty. Right there. You, the triangle. Okay, let's move this a little bit closer to where the camera is typically going to be. And we're going to change this to tree target. Distant tree target. Now, copy this to there, and we want to, okay, which one do we want to align to? Here's the tree. Oh, there you are. Okay, we want to aim you on the Z. Yep, there we go. I think this is it. I think. Let's turn this on and off. Yes, I think that does it. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if that works. I mean, it works good enough. We'll call that good. So we're going to copy this over to the others. Now let's go back to the main scene and see how that looks. I was walking in a bookstore and I have to ask, is everyone at New York Times bestseller a bestseller author? Am I a New York Times bestseller author? Are you a New York Times bestseller author? Well, everybody does seem to be on that list. I think part of it is the fact that there are so many people. Now, there was a bit of a trick. And I heard about this years ago, and I have since come to believe it wholeheartedly. The way you become a bestseller is you have to do some deeds. We'll just put it that way. Some deeds that get you recognized, and then people are willing to give you all these great benefits. It's actually a bit of a pretty sketchy sort of idea that, hey, we can embezzle money by doing that. Now, is that exactly what they're doing? I have no idea. But I do know that there is something really off about how that stuff is happening. Why is that? Where's the trees? Huh. I'm going to reduce that amount even further. Maybe a little bit more than that. Because I've noticed a lot of people who become New York bestsellers. I'm like, who is reading this book? It makes no sense. But it does make sense if there's some shady business dealings that are going on in the book world. Or maybe they put it on there so people want to buy it, and then they're just saying, could be, and it's like hidden in like faint off gray text or something on a white background, so that way most people don't see that it's there. It's kind of like that book that came out years ago. I forget what it was about, but it was like accusing somebody of being a murderer, but they couldn't prove that he was the murderer, and so they put in like a very, 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 very small font, assumed to be, or could I possibly be the murderer, instead of I am the murderer. Instead it said, could I be the murderer? But it was in such tiny text that you would never have seen it until someone points it out. So I gotta wonder what some of those is. Are they saying bestseller and they're just not being honest with it? I don't know. But there is definitely something that's off about it. We're going to add some ground to this. Where is that shader? Maybe it's pine. That's not it. Forest floor. There we go. Now let's come back to scene number 2, and let's give that a preview. Hey, that's looking decent. All right, time to render it. Expect some audio glitching. Okay, don't have to let that render all the way through to see the problem. All right, got to go back to background. Okay, I thought that was going to be an issue, and I didn't realize my error until now. I was wondering if it would be an issue, but I thought, nah, I've already fixed that. Psych. I didn't. All right, emission. Put this to 0.75. And now let us do that to the others. So this is the first thing we have to do. Troubleshooting. It's actually a bit therapeutic. Unless you're rushing to try and get something done, then it's no fun. Alright, that's the first thing that needed to be done. Second thing is this right here, I think. Is this it? Okay, let's hide this for the time being. It is going to be under this. Yeah, there we go. Oh, golly. Hide that. Okay, now it's a bit better. This mesh cannot be this dense here. How is this driven? Oh, yep. Okay, it's under group. Is it group? I'm looking for the attribute. Wait a minute. It's not driven by that. Why? Oh, wait, selection. That's it. Geometry node still drives me crazy at times. I like all the features that have been added, but man, it is still so many things I wish they would correct here. All right, so we're coming in and we're going to update this whole area. And let's add to that. Let's select the faces. We're selecting all this to here. And let's add in a little patch right there. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to remove. Now we just removed the plants from that area. Okay, you know what? We need this area also to be removed. Remove. Such a neat feature. I mean, it does work. It's just, I wish it would work a little bit better. That should be good to go. I kind of feel like those plants need another piece underneath them to connect them with the ground. Possibly something to do a little bit later. Just a little bit later. All right, so we're going to hide geometry nodes. We're going to bring back the forest. And we're going to try this again. Reminds me of some business parody I once read where contracts were made with the words "not" or "do not" in super small font before important clauses. That does sound, honestly, kind of real compared to what I've seen out there. Now, something to also consider. Oh, golly. Okay, got to come in here and I have to hide the collection. Geometry nodes, geometry nodes. Here we go. That's the button. Okay. Come back over here. There we go. Fixed. Huzzah. All right, so now let's render this. But that reminds me of a story about Amazon. I'll tell you about that when we come back after this render. What in tarnation? I mean, it's almost correct. But why is it doing that? Alright, what's the composition node system like? Alright, so we do have mist. What if we disable that? Alright, disable both of those. Oh, I know this. Okay. Light advanced, light path, that's it. Transparency, we want to be, 32. Alright, that's it. Now that's gonna take some more render time, but let's see how much extra render time. All right, so this one was at, this is 59 seconds. Next render. All right, we only gained 3 seconds on that. Not bad. It's a little dead looking out there. It doesn't look green. What am I missing with this? Expect a little bit of audio distortion during this process. Greetings, EG Wife. Just coming in to say hello. Well, hello to you too, and hope that your Christmas was wonderful and that your New Year's will be a blessing to you and your family. Thanks for coming by. It was pretty good. Let me disable that for a moment as I figure this part out. We had a good series of family gatherings that took place. And I'm taking some time off as well to try and work on projects. So that's been a positive. Not as much snow as past years, but that's Alaska for you. Some years the snow piles up, and other years it's just kind of mediocre. This year it was kind of mediocre. In our area, it's been abundant. Yeah, we had a whole lot the other year. We had multiple feet of snow. And it was wonderful. Some people hated it. And now it's like everyone forgot how much snow we had the other year. And everyone's like, oh, where's the snow? This is ridiculous. I'm like, you people were complaining about the snow, not like 2 years ago. Just let the weather be the weather. Do an ad. I think this would probably help this. Maybe color dodge. By the way, folks, just another reminder: we're going to try to figure out a new type of stream in the future. Last Friday was inspiration to try and do something really out there, and expect to see something related to 3D content that is going to be group sort of streams. I'm really looking forward to this. The more I think about it, the more excited I get. We're going to be kind of, as I understand, probably going to be doing things a little bit simpler for the first time around. But my brain has already jumped to like a year down the line of what could be done with it. So I'm a dreamer. What can I say? Kind of waiting for the initial wave of ideas to kind of come in before anything final is set up. So if you are into 3D and you want to be a part of this whole adventure, be sure to reach out. We're going to keep it fairly small, like I said, for the first bit, so we can get our sea legs. But I do think that there's some pretty neat things that can happen, especially with having smaller groups for some streams and then bigger groups for others. Man, there's so much potential. So much potential. Cassidy is the one who kind of got that whole ball rolling there. So, Cassidy, whenever you have some time, be sure to post some ideas in the event area. You should have access to it, but would love to see what you got there. I envy people who get snow, says Scutless. I'd like to get some yearly snowfall, and for snow to not be accompanied by temperatures that kill people. Hey, Scutless, the temperatures of your state of Louisiana kill people like me. When I was in Alabama, oh my goodness, I thought every day during the summer months I was going to perish. It was so hot. Arkansas was the worst, though. Arkansas is like, you had to live in the pool or in front of the air conditioner. It was impossible. I'm in Alabama too. Oh no. All these warm-blooded people. I'm going to get some sleep. Good night and God bless. Thank you, EGY, for coming by. Blessings to you and yours, and we'll see you next time whenever that is. Okay, so now by setting this up, I can take this and I can group it. Haha. I'm going to call this tree color correction. Now I can come over here and I can now add that in. Tree color correction. It should. Yep, bingo. Now when I change it in one area, it will change it everywhere else. When I learned about this feature, it changed so much. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually use this to make presets inside of 3D. And I almost did it, but I realized I needed to make more content rather than try and figure out posts that were going to be unified. So, just kind of gave it up. The hottest temperatures ever recorded in Louisiana was 114 degrees Fahrenheit, though this year 100 was the hottest we got. Arizona is really hot in the summer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I experienced that. I didn't live there, but I passed through there to visit relatives. I have no idea how they lived in that heat. Hottest I've ever been, though, was in Japan. Early 2000s, and we had a code black issued, which basically means stay inside because if you're outside more than 5-10 minutes, you are going to pass out. And here are the Japanese people going around like it's nothing. And Americans are like hiding indoors. You know, back in the olden days, back in the days of the Chinese Empire and the Mongol invaders, the Mongols and the Huns would attack during winter. The Mongols in particular would go raiding deep into Chinese territory, and they would seize all sorts of goods and gold, silver, and above all, who would guess, black tea. And they're actually the ones that made black tea, so to speak. They figured out that black tea could actually be taken back north, and because it was black, it actually was preserved. So they didn't have green tea, they had black tea, and the reason why it's so popular now is in thanks to the Mongols. So they would go raiding during the winter months, then the summer months would come and they would flee back into the north, and the Chinese people had months of peace and quiet, preparing for the next raid that was going to come during the winter. Oh, golly. It is, if you ever want to see, if you ever want to hear, like, some of the most outlandish sort of, culture, history, Chinese and Mongolian history is up there among some of the silliest kind of back and forth that you could find. The Mongols had no reason to kind of do a lot of the raiding that they did, and they had no need for it. They had food galore. They had the ability to trade. They were just a violent people. But they weren't a stupid people. They were barbarians, but they were not dumb. And Genghis Khan, we don't give enough credit to Genghis Khan. He was actually quite an impressive leader. Now, he is a corrupt leader, as are many, but he actually was the reason why Mongols actually have a very efficient written language, whereas the Chinese language is very hard to understand. Mongolians make up one of the largest populations in Asia, even though the country of Mongolia is fairly small. Because Inner China is Mongolian, even though they're under Chinese rule. They speak Mongolian, they're ethnically Mongolian, and one day they're going to become their own people. I do believe that. They are that different from the Chinese folks that I suspect they will split away at one point, especially when they find something to unify around. And if you know geopolitics, that time's coming. One period of Chinese history, the Three Kingdoms, I consider one of the more militarily interesting periods in human history. It is indeed. It is indeed. All right, we're going to render this scene again. Now, it's hard to find good Chinese history. A lot of it out there is fake. And I didn't know that until I started digging into it. And oh my goodness, some of it is so fake. And you can tell which ones are fake because whether or not they're funded by the CCP. Early 2000s had better history. Current documentaries are packed full of lies. And there are things that you can prove that are fake just because of, well, because there's evidence. Now, for those around here that have been here for a while, you know I have no love of the CCP. I know CCP people who are fleeing the CCP here in the country. I hope they never get found, because it's dangerous. Oh, it is dangerous. I'm actually glad. I tried to go over to China years ago, and it never happened. And I wasn't sure why. Why was I not allowed to go? I had the desire to go over, and I wasn't going to be blinded by it. I knew the challenges over there, but I was spared, and I found out some bad things could have happened. Oh my goodness. But it's still a fascinating country and a fascinating people. And one day, I hope that things open up, and so we can actually have a chance to have good dialogue with the people again. I have a lot of Chinese friends, and I sympathize very much with their plight. There's not much that can be done, though. They have to desire to want to see things change. So until then, things like Chinese history is a study that I would love to get to know more. But sadly enough, most of the good history of it has already been discovered. We're not going to get a chance to go and dig around in the secret temples because they're gone. There's only one temple. Okay, now get this. A little bit of a side note, because I study China actually a whole lot. You'd be surprised how many hours I've spent digging into Chinese history and culture and language. In China, there is one temple. Oh, but there's many temples out there. No, there's only one. All the other ones were built after the Cultural Revolution. See, Mao destroyed every temple in the country. There was only one that got spared, and it was not willingly. It's because it was submerged in a river. The river had flooded, and so they didn't even know the temple was there. It's a small temple, so the waters destroyed it, but it's the only one that has endured. Every other one got destroyed. So things that we know about China's ancient past had to escape to America, to Europe. And if you go back and you study Chinese history, you know that they were a very superstitious, very religious people. And so a massive amount of their history was gutted. And we'll never know. We'll never know why they have such a fascination with peacocks, for example. We'll never know the symbolic elements of the dragon that they have everywhere. Now, we know what the CCP wants us to know, but we don't know what it actually means, because the people that could tell it are either too few or they get drowned out, or it's been forgotten. Literally, if you want to find the most authentic Chinese history, you're going to have to see something like Shan Yun, a very good performance that takes place here in the West. And that's because it is funded by people who fled China, people who actually have the old history memorized. Is it completely authentic? I have no idea. But it's better than what the CCP has. All right, this scene is looking so much better. Now, it's a little... The forest is a little dead. We're going to tweak that. The Three Kingdoms is also a period where you need to put in effort to determine what happened and what is fiction. Short story is, at some point, a Chinese historian revised a lot of history for the sake of political convenience. Yes, I've heard some of that, and it gets pretty sketchy, honestly. Pretty sketchy indeed. I have no idea what the future of China is going to look like. But I would love to find out as much about their culture as I can. I really do value their culture. I think it's a fascinating place. But it's going to be tough to try and see and understand. I know that Mongolia actually has quite a few records, because Genghis Khan actually required them to record a lot of his victories. And get this, Genghis Khan was one of the few rulers who actively asked his historians to remember his losses in full detail. You know, the only other nations that have actively done that in human history, because it has happened, but who actively done it, was Rome. Rome had historians that were like, no, we need to go out and document things that were bad as well. British history and American history. Those are the three histories that intentionally recorded their bad elements as well, because we wanted to learn from it. Now, there were other nations too. France did it. Germany did it, Spain did it, but the ones that we're most familiar with because of our English-speaking background are those three nations, and Rome, because Rome has influenced us all. But Rome was really a nation that documented their culture, their victories, and their losses in immense detail. China? Okay, so let's make this higher resolution. You know, I find so many cultures fascinating. I really, truly don't think ill of many cultures. But I do have critiques that, especially about their ethics. China is one of the most difficult ones for me because I deeply love their culture. Deeply love their culture, and I love their people. They are some of the best people I've met. I really do believe that. But I've also met some of the most corrupt and wicked people from China as well. It's a nation where the tyrant rules over the conscience of the commoner. And I grieve that so much. It should not be that way. If you know anything about China, pray for them. They have it way tougher than we realize. And in a couple of decades, I believe the information will finally become mainstream enough that we will understand. And we are going to weep for them. Man, it is... Without going into full detail, imagine it like this. You have a... sorry. You have you've been working hard, and you come back home, and you find out somebody has been very angry at work. And he goes out, and then he decides that he wants to hurt everybody associated with the company. These are called revenge killings. Well, revenge against society killings. And that's why we're not going to dive into the specifics of it, but it is brutal. It's brutal because it's one of the most heartless ways that people can engage one another. And they will do all sorts of terrible things to one another, all in the name of getting even. And they don't go after the people that really deserve it. They go after their friends. They go after their co-workers. They'll go against the entire families. And that's a concern that a lot of people over there have to deal with. That's why I want to remember to always pray for them. I may view China as a global competitor. I may see them as economically destroying our nation. But I do not see their people as evil. I see their nation, their leaders as evil. But the people themselves, there's some wonderful, kind-hearted folks who have had a very hard go at life. So when the CCP eventually does collapse, and it will one day, I hope and pray that as many Chinese people are spared when that cataclysm does happen. All right, that should work. Let's add in another texture in the background, just so it stands out a little bit better. Let's add in some rock. That's what we need. What about seamless? Do I have a seamless? No, I don't. All right. What about here? Okay, here we go. Wait, volcanic? That's not what we need. Let's try this over here. Let's add in, well, this isn't really the same thing. Okay, let's go over here instead. Search for rock. Where is a good sort of... Oh, wait, here we go, Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. We're going to come over to geometry node and get rid of that, and we're going to add in a displace. Now we're going to add in a rock texture. Yeah. This will work out just fine. Let's add in granite. Did I misspell that? Granite. Rock surface, granite. This is going to be rock under rock. Distant rock. Here we go. I'm so very grateful to the for all these great textures that are provided by BlendKit. I'm gonna have to get a plan, purchase some stuff from them, because they have been there whenever I have needed textures. And they have been so very good about it, because I can also edit them. There's so many places where you cannot edit textures very effectively. I opened up one that I purchased years ago, water, and I spent $20 on it. No, $30, and it was on sale too. I opened it up. It was designed to try and break the moment you got into it, and I never used it. I spent all that money on a texture that was worthless. I come over here and their textures are free, and I've gotten great water. I've never had a problem with it. That was a bit of moss in that sense. Now let's add in more detail to this. 8 by 8. Sorry, 8 and 8 for rendering. Yeah, that sort of stuff. It's just a few stones. Now let's lower this down to 2. And lower this down to 2. And let's lower this to 6. And maybe this down to 6. There we go. Greetings, Bear Jason. Oh, by the way, says Bear Jason, I'm here. Just in case you couldn't sense my presence. I thought I felt a cold wind suddenly blow in. Oh wait, no, you're from California, so that means it's a hot wind or something like that. Up here's the cold wind. It's been 5 degrees. Very chilly. Actually, let me double check here. What is the current temperature? It is now 7 degrees. Hoo-hoo, heat wave. I'm full of hot air, if that counts. Yes. Yeah, Jason, the hot air man. How are things going with you, sir? Expect a little bit of audio distortion as we do our next render. Well, Pantheon's subscription has finally come in. I remember mentioning about it yesterday, and now it has taken place. Much appreciated to you, sir. Very kind. Yay, says Pantheon. If I add some Japanese writing into Discord, do you think you could read it? Well, as long as it doesn't have kanji, I can read. And if not, I also know how to figure out how to troubleshoot it. Sorry, I is live. Well, congratulations. Thank you for coming by, and I hope that you find some good success with your stream today. Much appreciated, sir. You are very kind. Okay. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, that, this right here. Let's see here. Open link. Let me show you this here, right? So this right here, I have no idea. That is very difficult to be able to tell the stroke order. Now, I do have a way to search for things based upon stroke order. I actually have a dictionary that goes off of that. And so I have no idea. Where was that found? By the way, one of the funniest things when you start studying this stuff is that you start realizing people will get like tattoos with Asian writing on it, and some of it will say like American pig on it. It's like, or it'd be like, they ask for like something to show it there, something that has to do with money. It says greedy.